It's a little dark underneath the tractor shed. The sun can't decide what it wants to do today. But as you can see, it makes it a whole lot easier to read. Hello again and welcome back to the Diamond H. Marty here. Today, I hope to help some of you figure out how to solve a problem. And that problem is not being able to see the level of hydraulic fluid in your tractor. This discussion on Facebook on the tractor pages is just at least once or twice a week it comes up. Now, I've been doing this for years, even before I bought my brand new TYM T474. I have recently, just last year, changed the method of dyeing the hydraulic fluid red. Now, a little bit of backstory. I like to keep my fuel color consistent. If I buy off-road diesel, which is rare, because I have to travel so far to get it, and I don't buy enough in bulk to have it delivered. So I don't want to pay that extra cost for delivery. So what I normally do is just go to a high volume diesel fuel dealer and get my fuel, mainly from Murphy USA. They always have clean diesel and clean fuels regardless. Anyway, that's neither here or there. But I like to keep the color of my diesel the same. So whether I have already dyed diesel or light green diesel, it doesn't matter. When it gets here, before it gets in my transfer tank, it's getting dyed red. I dye every bit of hydraulic fluid in my tractor is red. It just takes the guesswork out of it. You don't even have to get close to the back of your tractor if you have a sight glass like I do on my T474, or if you have a dipstick like this on our John Deere 5103, or the International B414D. So I also use other colors for other methods, and I use either blue or purple for gear oil. I never have dyed my engine oil because it's fixing to turn fairly dark black from diesel soot anyway. That's just the nature of the game for a diesel engine, so there's no use in doing that. But gear oil is almost virtually the same as hydraulic oil. It's quite a bit darker than the tractor hydraulic fluid, but it can also be difficult to read on the dipstick on the front axle. So I dye it too. I dyed a different color, either, like I said, it's either blue or whatever I feel like doing at the time. It could be purple, or I could mix red and blue and make my own purple. I've done that before. But anyway, I want to just show you what I use and what you can use. I'll start with what I've used the longest, and I changed because, well, I'll explain that in a minute. Forever and more, I used to go to Hobby Lobby stores, and they had a candle dye. It's an oil-based dye that mixes really well with hydraulic fluid. It won't affect it any. It's a neutral base, oil base with dye in it. Well, they come in 1 ounce containers, okay? 1 ounce. 1 ounce will treat 10 gallons of hydraulic fluid. This right here is an example. Isn't that pretty? It's easy to see, isn't it? At least it is for me. But anyway, this is what dyed that. This is Crafty Bubbles Red Candle Dye. It's also something else. Candle oil, lamp oil. Lamp oil, diesel fuel, and hydraulic fluid all basically have the same base oil. And this mixes really well. And this was only like $3 and something a bottle. And you don't need them often, you know. I mean, it's not like you're going to use one a week or a month, sometimes not even a year. But Hobby Lobby stopped carrying these for some reason. And I went to the original manufacturer, contacted them, and it was just going to be too cost prohibitive to order it directly from the factory in Ohio and have it shipped to Southwest Arkansas. And by the time I did that, it just wasn't worth it. So I searched out for a different brand, a different type. Now, one of the most popular fluid dyes out there is John Deere fluid dye. You can get it at any John Deere dealer. It's a red fluid dye that changes your hydraulic fluid. However, I have a problem with that personally. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great stuff. It does what it's supposed to do. But I don't do this for a living. Every bit of my tractor work, every bit of this acreage, this 290 acres, is a hobby. And I try to keep my costs down because it is a hobby. If I was making a living at this, that would be a totally different story, because you have taxes involved that you can write off. You don't have to pay taxes on farm things like that, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying. But since this is a hobby and I do this for fun, I try to keep my costs down. Another reason I don't have the John Deere here for an example, because I don't use it. I think it's a 1/2 ounce bottle. I may be wrong about that. I haven't bought any, okay? So it's either a 1/2 ounce bottle, 1/2 ounce bottle, or 1 ounce bottle. But regardless of what's in the bottle, it's supposedly only treats 5 gallons. And it turns it pink and not this color. If I'm going to go through the expense of trying to see my fluid, I don't want it half dyed. I don't want it pink. I don't want it partially shaded. I want it where I can see it 10 feet away if I want to look down there at that sight glass and see where my hydraulic fluid level is. You catch my drift? So Marty is not going to spend $10 to $15 on a tiny bottle of John Deere dye when I go through so much of it. Okay. This is the royal blue. That's 1 ounce, same as the red, and here's the purple. I also color code my racing fuel for my side-by-sides, just to keep one of my side-by-sides have certain fuel, and I'd just rather not go through that ordeal. So I keep that fuel for that particular side-by-side color-coded. Okay. Anyway, that's not what today's subject is about, but I can't get Crafty Bubbles anymore. They carry a different brand at Hobby Lobby, but from everything that I can tell from the bottle on the new brand, it's eco-based and water-based. Me, myself, and I are not going to put a water-based dye or a water-based anything in my hydraulic system. Not happening, Captain. So, I know that was a long story, but it needed some depth and some base. So, I got to looking. I actually work within the petroleum retail business as a day job, and I got to looking and researching, and I came up with this brand called Bright Eyes. Color coding dye. Now this comes in a 4-ounce bottle. They actually come in a larger bottle, but let me tell you something. Oh, I have blue too. Let me hold this bottle up there to get that item number. It's made by King's Coat. And the blue. Now, this is pretty expensive. Depending on where you get it, this can be anywhere from $29 a bottle to $36 a bottle. And that sounds really, really expensive. But, there's always a but. But, if you're going to spend $10 to $15 on a half-ounce bottle of another brand of fluid, it don't take too many applications where you could have bought 4 ounces, and this is way more economical. I'm not trying to bad talk any other brand of dyes. I'm just telling you what Marty does. This stuff is very, very extremely concentrated. This is a 1-ounce bottle of red. 1 drop, maybe 2 drops of this equals this whole ounce of dye. This 1-ounce bottle will treat 10 gallons of hydraulic fluid. This bottle, about 10 drops is about 10 gallons. So a drop per gallon is all this takes. Friends and neighbors, this is a lifetime supply, even for me. I mean, if you end up wanting and getting the whole 4-ounce bottle, you can share the love with your neighbors or friends and family, because this will last a lifetime. I mean, unless you're in a commercial setting where you need a lot more, or you're in the fuel business or something like that. For the average person, this is probably 2 lifetimes worth. But it's very highly concentrated. I'm not kidding. The first time I used this application, I overdosed it by accident, because I thought it was the same concentration as this candle dye. Boy, was I wrong. It almost turned it black. But after that mistake, I figured out quick, fast, and in a hurry that 1 drop equals 1 gallon. You can adjust it to your own liking, but basically it turns out like this. And that's easy to see for anybody, even a blind man. Anyway, it works great on dipsticks. There's no guessing. Like I said, I use a different color for the front axle gear oil. It makes life simpler, make it easy on yourself. Sure, it sounds like a lot of cost up front, but you probably never have to buy any more. I'm wearing gloves today because I accidentally got this blue. As you can see, I kind of spilled that on me, spilled it one time, and I kind of wore that with honors for about 2 or 3 weeks till I grew new skin. Anyway, I hope you learned something. I just want to share what I do. I'm not saying I'm right, probably not even close to right. That's just what I do, and it works for me. Thanks for watching. Y'all take care.